Hello, boys and girls, and thank you for taking the time to watch this week's Social Emotional Learning lesson or SEL lesson. This week we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. And I know that's a big word, but we'll break this down and talk about how we can apply it and use it in our own lives. So before we do that, let's check in. If you remember, last week we talked about the power of yet, and that's believing that we can do hard things if we practice and put our minds to it. And you are all awesome, awesome kids, and I know you can do great things. So I want to have you think about what you did this week that might have seemed hard or challenging, but you pushed through it and you believed in the power of yet and knew that if you kept trying and working hard, that you could get closer to accomplishing your goal. Maybe it was writing your name or writing a sentence or a paragraph or reading a sentence or some words. It could have been riding your bike, or it could have been kicking the ball really hard at soccer practice or playing the piano. Lots of different things that we can apply to the power of yet, either at school or home. So think for a minute, how have you used the power of yet this past week? And you can think to yourself, you can tell somebody at home, or you can just say it out loud. Okay, today, like I said, we're going to learn about emotional intelligence or EQ. And again, we'll break this down. And part of emotional intelligence or EQ includes insight, and that's understanding and knowing our feelings, and then regulation, which is managing our feelings and how we respond, and then also connection, just making connections with other people through being able to recognize how they might be feeling. So, our learning targets are being aware of our emotions, controlling our actions and our feelings, and then also building respectful, positive relationships with others and valuing diverse perspectives. So, remember how I said we talk about what emotional intelligence is? Well, emotional intelligence is really just knowing or being able to identify your emotions. So, emotions could be happy, it could be worried, it could be, or that could even be scared. It could be silly, it could be sad, or it could be angry. There's lots of different emotions we might feel. And it's really important we manage these emotions. So even if we feel angry, we might take some deep breaths. We would manage that feeling instead of maybe yelling at somebody. Okay, so the better choice would be taking some deep breaths and calming down. Um, so we're managing our emotions. And we also, when we have emotional intelligence, we know how others might be feeling. Okay, so that's what emotional intelligence is. It's knowing your feelings, managing your feelings, and then knowing how others might be feeling. So let's look at this for a minute. All of these different little video clips show different emotions. So, how might these people be feeling? One of the ways that I try to figure out how people might be feeling, especially if you can't hear what they're saying, is by looking at their eyes, looking at their mouth, if they're smiling, and looking at other body language. So if we look at this lady, her eyes are kind of crinkled up in the edges and she's smiling. So I would guess maybe she feels happy. This person here, her eyebrows are a little furrowed. They're kind of squinting in. Her mouth, it looks upset, and her fists are clenched. So she might be very, very sad. She could be kind of angry or upset. So that might be what she's experiencing. And then if we look at this picture here, this little boy, his eyes look sad, his eyebrows are furrowing, and then he's covering his face, so he might be crying. So maybe he's worried, scared, sad. There could be a lot of different ways that this little boy might be feeling. So I look at their eyes and their body language and their mouth to kind of give me clues as to how people might be feeling. So let's watch this video clip. And this is from the movie Inside Out. So some of you may have seen it. And this is the character Sadness. And she is helping her friend who feels sad. And she's recognizing how he might feel. And she's respecting that he might feel that way. So let's watch how she does that.
My rocket! Wait, Randy and I were still using that rocket. It still has some song power left. Who's your friend who likes to play? No! No, 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 you can't take my rockets in it now. Randy and I are going to the moon. Randy can't be done with me.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. We can fix this. We just need to get back to headquarters. Which way to the train station?
I had a whole trip planned for us.
Hey, who's ticklish, huh? Here comes the tickle monster.
I'm sorry they took your rocket. They took something that you loved. It's gone. Forever.
Sadness. Don't make him feel worse.
Sorry.
It's all he had left of Riley.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time, we had breakfast twice that day.
Sadness.
Sounds amazing. I bet Riley liked it.
Oh, she did. We were best friends.
Yeah. Sad.
I'm okay now. Come on. The train station is this way.
So you can see that Sadness took time to value how her friend might be feeling, even though he was sad and they had other things they needed to do. They needed to get to the train station, but it just took a minute to say, "You must feel sad." And he cried a little bit, and then he felt better after he talked to somebody. And sometimes we can be a good friend by recognizing how somebody else might be feeling and then just being there, being a good friend for them and listening to how they might be feeling. So the character Sadness was able to recognize how somebody else might be feeling and maybe why that he might feel that way. And they were able to become better friends by just listening to each other. And do you think that this helped him by having somebody else recognize his feelings? Yes or no? Give a thumbs up for a yes and a thumbs down for a no if you think this helped him. Okay. I think it helped him because he said that he was better and that he was able to get up and they were ready to move on and go to the train station. So it just took him a little bit of time and he was moving on. Okay. So we can show others that we know how they might be feeling and be a good friend by respecting their feelings, just like Sadness did in the movie Inside Out in that clip we just watched. So we can do that by asking questions like, are you feeling? And fill in the blank. Are you feeling silly, sad, happy, angry, worried, or scared? And remember, we can tell how people might be feeling by looking at their faces and looking at their eyes and their mouth and maybe some other like body postures, maybe if their fist is clenched or if it's open. Those are clues as to how people might be feeling. And so it's okay to say, hey, are you feeling sad? Are you feeling happy? We can also say things like, I can see you're feeling happy, sad, silly, worried, scared, mad. Okay, so that's another way. Just let somebody else know that you're recognizing how they're feeling. If somebody is feeling sad or scared or worried or mad, you can say, I'm sorry you're feeling sad, scared, worried, mad. Okay, because that just respects their feelings. If somebody's feeling silly or happy, we can say, I'm glad you're feeling silly. I'm glad you're feeling happy because it makes me happy to see you happy. So for a checkout this week, if you could think about an emotion, whether that be happy or sadness, and then think about how you might respond to somebody with that emotion. And I would say sometimes when people are feeling angry, they might need a little space. And so it might not be the best idea to approach them right away. But if they're feeling sad, you can be a good friend and say, I can see you're feeling sad. Um, if somebody's feeling happy, you can say, I can see you're feeling happy. So pick an emotion, whether it be happiness or sadness, and think about how you might be able to recognize that in somebody else. And if you don't have somebody at home that you can do that with, even if you're watching TV, try to watch the emotions that the characters might be feeling. And that kind of helps you learn to understand how others might be feeling. And I just want to leave you with this thought. And this is from Maya Angelou. And she was a famous, famous writer and a wonderful person. And she said, people will forget what you said and what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And so that's really important. And it kind of ties in with our emotional intelligence because it's important that we take time to recognize the feelings of others and respect how others might be feeling. So thank you for your time today as you learned more about emotional intelligence through our SEL lesson. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.